We are live. Let me just check my Facebook. If we are live and you can see us, please say hello.
Say
Emily
something
Kate.
to us.
Yeah, say something to us. It reminds me of that song. Everybody just say something. Say something. Where are the
How
people?
do I share it?
Well, oh, here we are. We are live. We're laughing. Okay, great. Hi. Who's watching? For some reason, it won't show me who's watching. Hello. Hello, whoever you are. Lovely to meet you. Let's see what's happening. Okay, let's just play from here. Anyway, Emily Kate here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Conscious Conversations. I am here with the most fabulous Taylor Stuart, and we are going to be talking about conscious conversations for love tonight. Now, you're probably like, what the fuck does that even mean? Well, guess what? Me too. I'm like, this is a complete, this is like new exploration for me. And we'll just see how it goes. So tonight we're just going to have some fun.
Perfect.
Taylor here has done a live with me before, and we spoke about banishing shame from the bedroom. And she is doing a lot of amazing work about intimacy, and you need to go and follow her if you haven't already. But ultimately, I can't wait to hear, because your relationship is so juicy that every time we talk, I'm like, tell me more, tell me more. So, so let's, we're going to be sharing about ourselves and what love means. Not even just what I want to get into, like real juicy shit. What I've noticed lately is my lives, for me at least, have just been really bland. And I'm like, I want to get into the juicy details of the topics that I explore, and I don't want to hold back, because that's my whole brand, is being able to fully express all of your humanity, whether you're talking about orgasms, whether you're talking about love, intimacy, even if you're talking about hiking. I want it to be juicy. So let's just have tonight really just be about having fun, being juicy, sharing, and expression. Is that cool?
If you want juicy, you've come to the right girl.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. The
Has
juicy
anyone
stuff just kind of falls out, and then I'm like, oh, I hope you don't mind, but that's there now. I put it in your space. Let's deal with it. Let's talk about it.
I don't mind, but here's a bombshell.
Yeah.
That's great. I pretty much do the same. I actually notice even that I say things because I want people to get involved with the conversation. So I say things searching for reaction, not a bad reaction, but just for someone to react and engage. So if you are watching, I encourage that if you want to be involved in this conversation, that you actually get involved. It's Tuesday night. What better thing could you be doing than to be watching two really gorgeous women talk about love, intimacy, relationships, but not just talk about it, express and share some of our most intimate, sensual moments. What could be better than that?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Or maybe actually having sex with the person you love.
I think that's a little bit better than this time.
Just like
yeah, slightly. Oh no, you're breaking up. You broke up. I didn't hear what you just said, but that's okay. Something's going on with your internet.
I don't think I said anything.
Oh, then pixelated robotic Taylor came out to play. It could just be, let me just check. It could just be your internet or my internet. But either way, we're here. We're going to see what happens. Oh, there we go. I can see people that are watching. Great. Thank you for jumping.
Am I back, or am I still blurry?
You're good. You're good now. Cool. You know what's really funny? Even if you go blurry, I can see the bright lipstick. So I'm like, she's there.
She's here.
I love it. So let's start. There's so many things I want to pull apart with the idea of love, but I really noticed that my brain starts to want to explore and rationalize things, and people don't want to jump on and watch someone trying to explain love. I think people want to jump on and just hear, experience, sharing. So let's just jump into that. I have some juicy questions actually that we can explore. What's the first time that you could say that you were in love? That you were conscious, at least, that there was some kind of feeling of love? First crush kind of thing?
Yeah, high school.
High school?
Definitely high school. I had actually, I had a moment. This is going to sound weird. I was in PE class in year 12.
Yes.
And I was in PE and I was like, I never had sex. I was still a virgin. And I was like, I need to have sex with that man.
Was it the
It was my ex-boyfriend.
Oh.
And I think within 3 weeks, we were dating again and sleeping together. And
Yeah.
I don't know that that's the first experience of love, but that's like one of my friends' mums was like, they need to cancel PE.
I love it. That's so funny.
I was like, I don't know what it was. It just like hormones and it all hit me. And yeah, he was my formal date and my high school sweetheart and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, that was pretty special. He has a pretty special place in my heart.
Yeah.
And his younger sister and his mum are like family, and yeah.
So it wasn't just like, I'm gonna bang that guy and then that's it. It was actually, there was some kind of connection there.
Yeah, it was like, I'm gonna bang that guy that I'd broken up with, and then I'm gonna let him break my heart over and over and over again for 5 years.
Oh. That's love.
That is love. That's, yeah, I think that's more like looking for validation externally.
Yeah, I get it. This is why I want to explore this topic. And if you're watching too, I want to hear your stories. I promise not to name and shame you if you don't want to be. But so often I notice that we kind of collapse these feelings of love with sex, with validation. So I'm like, what is love actually? If it's not about sex, it's not about validation, relationship, then what is it actually? And I have a couple of answers to that question. Ultimately, I don't really know, but I can even pinpoint the first crush that I had that I thought I was in love with. As a young schoolgirl, I could probably say that I was totally head over heels for this guy, and I had only just met him. And his name was Trent Hartley. Like that's and I wrote him a love letter. It was actually a poem, and it said something like, I love you, you love me, let's get together and live happily. Some stupid, awkward shit that I'm so ashamed of. What was I thinking? And then I was like, okay, that was just young Emily fully expressed before she got completely shamed and embarrassed because he ripped the note up in front of my face and in front of all of the people that were sitting there. And I was like, I am never going to express those feelings of love again. Ever. So thank you. Someone said why are you both so pretty? Look, we just are.
I got it from my mama. Don't you know the song?
I got it from my mama. I got it. Yeah. I love singing now. Baby, where'd you get your body from? Yeah. Yeah, but that's it. It's like, so what is it if it's not love notes? We call them love notes. If it's, is it an expression? Is it a frequency? Is it a commitment? Is it a creation through language? Is it actually feelings and emotions? Like, what is it? I think I
It's
just,
all of that.
yeah. So would you call love being an experience then? I want the answers. I'm like,
There aren't any. I mean, I'm currently working on a assignment all about the developmental stages and looking at identity in adolescence and intimacy in young adults.
mm,
And there isn't a clear definition. There's, intimacy is being open and sharing yourself. And then there's all this like, well, does it come from like, I share myself, so then you share yourself with me, or they share themselves, so I share myself with them, or what, gives us the courage to share ourselves and
yeah.
all of these different things. But
Mm,
for me, love is like the messy, gritty, like, hold your hair back moments, and not necessarily because you're vomiting because you're drunk, but like that kind of like got you when you're like falling apart moments.
yeah, okay. So love for you is like um, that security in a relationship, or that like that, what would you call it? Like, not security.
Unwavering support.
Yeah, yeah, that support from another person in relationship. Yeah,
And
that's
that's
interesting.
something that I learned from my girlfriends, actually.
Mm,
I have
mm.
friends that have just like gotten on planes for me because I was having a relationship breakdown and
Oh,
that
wow.
sort of thing. And learning that from them and then expecting that in
Mm,
my intimate romantic relationships was really powerful.
mm. Yeah, that's
And I
interesting.
think as women, we tend to give ourselves, well, I definitely do. And I'm sure there are men that do this as well, because I definitely like learnt this from my dad.
I was
But
just about to say,
giving,
where do you think it came from? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, my mum does as well. But definitely my dad is more, it just
Mm,
seemed more obvious. Like when I've actually looked back and reflected, I've seen my mum is exactly the same way, but I guess it's more obvious with my dad. But yeah, definitely learned that from my dad, to just give
mm.
yourself wholeheartedly. But I think a lot of women, we're sort of taught that. We're in the nurturer mode.
Yeah,
Um, and you just give yourself, and to
selfless.
actually let someone give themselves back
Mm,
has been a really powerful thing for me, and really like
yeah.
allowing my partner to
Mm,
love me.
mm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. We've
And
got
he
some.
does his, oh, go on.
So we've got some
Some
comments.
comments.
I want to address them. If I look over this way, it's because I'm looking at my phone. For some fucking reason, StreamYard, you pay for StreamYard and it doesn't do what you ask it to do. It's supposed to have all the comments. Supposed to have all the comments in one file. Instead, I have to have like 3 different friggin' devices. Anyway, it's gonna happen. So Nathan, he's shared, I met a man when I moved to Queensland that was a married man who fell over heels for me, but was scared to leave his wife and children for me. It took 3 months for this to happen, but here we are 6 years later. I've never felt love like anything before in any of my relationships. Um, his children are now like my own. We found love in a hopeless place, but 6 years later tells me a story. That's beautiful, and I mean, like, love. I mean, it sounds like there was like a real. I'm getting what everyone's stories of love are, by the way, and none of them are wrong. Like, I could just hear yours, which is like giving yourself selflessly. They are stories. They are things that we've just
Yeah.
developed. And, Nathan's is, love triumphs. So triumphing over things and sticking to it. And like you said, a hopeless place. I love that song by Rihanna, by the way. We found love that song? Anyway,
Yeah.
so it's like love has a story for everybody. Airway, thanks for joining us. What is your story for love? Um, and I kind of want to like I can already hear in what people are sharing that love has become individually an adaptation of experiences that we've had throughout our lives. And I don't think it ever just stays the same. Maybe it does and it looks differently, but I know for myself, watching my parents and their relationships, love for me is all about being able to devote yourself to another. It looks differently from the woman's perspective to the man's. For my mum, she wanted to be the person at home cooking and cleaning, and she wanted to do that. And my dad wants to be the hard worker, the one devoted to his family, bringing home the bacon. And so I watched that, and I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that. And so I've been out on my own journey looking for love, being like, I don't want that. So what do I want? And it comes back to commitment for me, and it comes back to what I require, because I can find love within myself. I don't require it from anybody else. So then it just becomes a commitment to devotion, being devoted to someone, being devoted to growth, being devoted to relationship, because I prefer relationship than to be alone. So it's interesting that we all have our different stories of love. And again, I don't even know whether to call that love. I'm getting very intellectual here. Jay said, love for me is selfless sacrifice to another. Yeah, you see, we all have our own adaptation of what that is. What were you going to say?
Well, I think it starts with you. And I know that's been my journey, and it might not have been everyone's journey. A lot of the stuff I'm reading at the moment is about women finding intimacy before they find their identity, and getting married and having children and then going on their identity journey. But for me, it really looked like finding myself, falling in love with myself, constructing a life that I loved, and then being like, well, if you want in, can't get on board, but like, it's going to be a bumpy ride. And if you don't work, I'm throwing you overboard. Like,
be prepared, motherfucker, is what you really want to say.
Yeah. And it was like that. Yeah. And my life was so full and so magnificent that, like, we broke up twice, and it was tough. And it was sad. And like, in one of those moments, I really got to see who I was. And like, I loved him so much that I wanted him to have the best life. And he said he wanted a relationship, but he didn't know that it was me. And I went and looked at that with him and let him look at that for himself.
Yeah.
And I was fully like, it's not me. I was like, it's not me. And I got to be someone that I didn't know myself to be, because I just loved him so much, and I just wanted him to love his life.
Yeah. Yeah. So love also does look like letting things go sometimes, or giving things space. Yeah. Describe to me how your relationship looks now in terms of, I mean, you can describe it however you want, but I'm like, I keep coming back to wanting to relate everything to love, because I'm getting a lot more about how it all just is story. Versus what happened. So, yeah, share with me, what is your relationship like now?
I know this gets said a lot, but it's a masterpiece and it's a work in progress.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
Oh, like, it is just incredible, the level of communication we have and the intimacy we have and the places we can go with each other and support each other while the other one is just incredible. But I still pick fights. We were in bed Saturday night and I was like, I do this running away thing, and he's like, you're running away again. And I was like, no, I'm not. You're just being a dick. And he was like, no, you're running away. Like, and then I saw it and I was like, I'm not going to say it. And then I like just said all the stuff that he'd done that had annoyed me. And he's like, yeah, so this conversation was destined to fail from the start. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. But yes, you can pull your crap though.
Yeah, and he knows me so well that he's like, yeah, just come back here. One day I moved on the couch and he just like picked me up and put me on his lap and was like, you doing the running away thing? And I was like, pat me down.
Oh my gosh.
I hate you. But I don't hate him. And
No.
it's just all my like insecurities and all my self-doubt and all my, so basically I run away before people can leave me.
Yeah. Okay. Run away before people. Can anyone relate to that that's watching? I'll read out the comments in just a moment. Thank you for sharing, everyone. But that's really profound. I run
Yeah, I
away
really,
or I hide, because that's something that I've been doing. I hide before people leave. I run away before people leave. Yeah.
would take the case, Em, that like it occurs like hiding, but it's like severing the tie
Yeah.
before they can sever the tie to
Hiding
you.
away. Absolutely, absolutely. And I even like set myself up in relationships. I noticed for most of my adult life dating, I date people, it's interesting. I don't mean I go out and find people that are unavailable emotionally or commitment wise, but I was unavailable emotionally. So I was attracting people that knew that I wouldn't commit. Um, and then I would be like, am I not good enough? So I was kind of setting myself up for having to reaffirm my story of not being good enough for anybody. And like you, was running away before they left me. Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely
Yeah.
relate.
I do all sorts of stuff to prove I'm not good enough. Like,
Mm,
I don't ask for what I want, so when they don't give me what I want, I can say, look, if you really loved me, you would have done this thing that I want. You mustn't love me. I'm not good enough.
yeah,
And they're
exactly.
like, I didn't know you wanted it. Let me give it to you now. And I'm like, nah, it's too late. If you really loved me, you would have already done it. I wouldn't have had to ask.
You would have been telepathic mind reader, and you're not. So goodbye. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I hear people in relationships like a lot of people come to me for advice, relationship advice. And it's really interesting because I've been single for a really long time. Um, when people come to me for relationship advice, oh, communication's not working. I get it. Um, but I'm like, I can really hear this like already perceived like this prediction about how a relationship has gone based on how the relationship started. And not even that, but I mean, like a lot of people get really offended by this, and I'm going to say it anyway, but but
Go.
we are very predictable people. Human being, you and I, Taylor, you and I, Nathan, Scotty, thanks for watching, Scotty. Airway, Wayne, we're all very predictable human beings. We have predictable patterns of behavior. There's nothing wrong with that. But we do the same in relationships. And if like Taylor, I imagine that's why your relationship's so epic, is because what's predictable for you is that you're going to try and run away. And not only do you know that, you've now shared it with Ben. Sorry, I just gave him a shout out. Go and stalk. You
Yeah.
know,
He's got a gorgeous video on his Facebook page. Go and check it out.
ooh. I love how you promote him in his gorgeous body. Um, yeah, but now that you've shared it with him, it's like, although it's predictable, you now have some kind of accountability or responsibility about it. I'm just going to share this. Airway, my grandmother speaking so softly, asking me if I would like a cup of tea. Then she makes the sweetest cup of tea. The love was in that cup. Ah, that's so sweet. I love that, Airway. Yeah, so love can be, this is why they have love languages, I reckon, because love can be like acts of service. Love can be physical touch. Love could be, I can't even remember all of them, but That
Words
would
of
be
affirmation,
word of affirmation,
gifts,
gift giving,
and time, I
and
think, are
time.
the 5 official love languages.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone said to me the other day, my love language is doing the fucking laundry. She just wants someone to do the laundry. And I was like, fair enough. Yeah. It's individual to all of us.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We just have Nathan here. I never loved myself before my current partner loved me, but have been told, previously have been told they loved me, but never felt it like I do now. And my heart is stronger than my head. Oh, that's beautiful as well. Yeah. I mean, like, I am a huge promoter of being able to experience love within yourself internally before you externalize it. And I think what happens is that when people find, I mean, this is just an assumption. You can correct me if I'm wrong, especially you, Nathan. I'm not like, I don't know your relationship story or anything. You've shared a little, but we meet people and we fall in love with ourselves because they are a reflection of us. So really, they're kind of mirroring what you had within you the whole time. And so people are like, I never loved myself as much as when I started dating, Kathy or whoever it was, because they have really just created a reflection of the love that you already have within yourself. I mean, it's just a theory that I have, but.
And they see you differently. So one of the things that showed up for me recently when COVID hit was, like Ben said, I think you need to talk to someone. I don't think you love yourself.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, fuck, you're the 3rd person that said that to me today.
Red flag.
Bugger. I hate it when this happens. And
Yeah.
2 of my really great friends had both said the same thing to me. And I was like, oh, well, I better actually look at this. But I was already in a relationship with him, and he saw me as the person I wanted him to see me as. He saw me as the person I wanted to be for myself.
Yeah.
I just couldn't recognize it, and I couldn't acknowledge it, and I just couldn't own it. I was so stuck in unlovable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did have a story that boys like Ben don't go out with girls like me.
Yes, I want you to share that. I just need to acknowledge something.
Yeah.
Anyone that's not commenting directly from the live on my Facebook, if you're commenting from another platform, I apologize that I haven't acknowledged you. It's just that your comments are coming up as Facebook user. So thank you for commenting. I will answer these questions. Like, self-worth is huge, isn't it? Someone's written. It really is, self-worth. And Taylor is about to really share about that. So, it's perfect. It's rolled you straight into that you were like saying to yourself that you're not the kind of girl that people like Ben would date. So tell me more about that.
So I just had this story that I was different. And some of my past boyfriends, there's been nothing wrong with them, but they've been very wrong for me personality-wise, but they were different than other people. And I thought that was kind of how I would get what I wanted, was making sacrifices. And I actually distinguished that there was a time in the schoolyard where one of my girlfriends was talking to one of the boys about a popular girl at school. And she said something about girls like her and not like us, and roped me into that. And I just fell into, well, boys don't like girls like me.
Interesting. I have a similar story.
Yeah. And then it kept playing out. And I had a lot of, and like grandmas and mums. My grandmas and mum, tune out now. And dad and my brother, like, la, 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 la. But I had a lot of, I went out with a lot of guys that I was attracted to. And I do like that stereotypical, tall, Prince Charming kind of look. And Ben has that look. But I went out with a lot of guys that looked like that, and they treated me not very nicely. And they would not message me back, or I had one guy, I went on 6 dates with him, and after we had sex, I never heard from him ever again.
Oh, yeah, it's happened to me. Ghosting, they call it.
I was like 6 dates.
Wow.
We had sex once, and we all know that first time sex is not the best sex you have with someone. So he put
Yeah.
in 6 dates worth of time with me to
Yep.
have first time sex, and then I never
Yeah.
heard from him again.
Yeah, I
And
know.
it just reinforced this story. And then I've settled for like personality types that didn't quite work for me, and
Mm.
people that didn't honor me and respect me. And
Mm. Yeah. Well, I can relate, where was I going? I actually want to share the most recent thing that's happened. Um, and I don't know if he's gonna watch this live, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm like really nervous, when something's already happening to you and you're in the middle of it, and you're like, I
yeah.
don't know if this is appropriate for Facebook, but at the same time, I have nothing to hide in my life. Like I'm one of those people. I'm gonna come on Facebook and I'm gonna express and I'm gonna share with the whole universe is on Facebook. I keep thinking. Express to the other humans on the planet because I know that what I say will resonate with someone and make a difference somehow. Ultimately, so I started seeing this guy a couple of months ago. So we've been on 3 dates. I think that's kind of what it looks like. We've been to Kangaroo Point. It's been really lovely. Oh, I'm so nervous to share this. I'm so like.
Pretend I'm holding your hand. You got this.
Anyway, so he's really handsome and he's super lovely, very, very beautiful person. We have a lot in common in terms of our values and our beliefs. And it sounds a little bit woo-woo, but I had asked the universe, I was like, universe, I don't want to date anybody that's not suitable for me anymore. I want to create and I want to call in a man who is secure enough in himself, safe enough within himself, and trusts himself enough that he can hold me in my big fucking personality. Because not only am like a just jiggly, juicy female, and there is a lot to hold over here, by the way, there's a lot to hold. But also energetically, I am like off the rails.
Yeah.
I come onto these lives. I'm like that in my business. I'm not going to say that I'm energetically like on a high all the time. Even when I'm on a low, it takes a real secure person for me to feel safe enough to come back down and like really connect with. And I used to make that wrong all the time. I used to be like, I didn't want to be a burden on people, and so I'd get into relationships and I'd totally suppress myself, and I'd pretend that there are things I wasn't feeling, and I would tell myself, "Oh, he doesn't need to hear that," or "You don't share that with him." And wouldn't talk about my past, wouldn't talk about anything that had happened to me, wouldn't talk about what I was up to. So most of the men I was dating had no idea that I was changing the world. Yeah. And Callum says, that's an understatement. Every time I see you, you're doing karate with Matthew, which is my younger brother. Yeah, I'm always playing. I'm always like high energy. There are a lot of times though when I am quite down. I'm a human being. I have my moments where I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? I get really like sad and that's normal. But even in those moments, I want someone to be able to allow me to be my full human being. And so I asked the universe, I was like, universe, this is what I want. This is the man that I desire. And then he messages me and he's like, hey, how you going? And he's been following my stuff on Facebook. It's probably why he's watching this live, hiding from me. And we just started talking, becoming friends. We went on a couple of dates. It's been really lovely, and we had a really
You're doing
amazing.
a good job. If you're watching this,
Yes, if he's watching, brownie points. Even
she likes you.
even right now, yeah, she does. Even right now, saying this though, I'm saying to myself in my head, you're giving too much away. You know, like, you're going to scare him off. Oh my God, stop talking, Emily. He's watching. You know, like, I can hear
But it's programmed into
it in
us.
his head. It is.
So
Well,
when I met,
yeah.
it
Program
is. It
first.
is. It is like drilled
Very
into us. So I had a breakdown last year when I turned 25 because my mum was 25 when she had me. And I was like, I am never going to be my mum. And I had like 3 months of this, like, I do want babies, and why don't I have a partner? And why aren't, like, my friends are getting married, and oh my God, I don't have that, and I'm never going to be my mom. And I shared that with Ben, and he freaked out a bit. And I went home and I was talking to my mom, and she's like, you probably, like, you can say that to me, but you shouldn't have said that to him. And I was like, nah,
Yeah,
I need to be able to say that to my partner.
absolutely.
And yeah, then I asked him to meet my mom, and he broke up with me.
Ah! And that brings me back to that. It's like, it doesn't matter what, you know, even in this moment, if this guy is watching, if you are watching, I'm just going to say this to you. If you're watching and you're like, this is too much, she shouldn't be, you know, we've only just started seeing each other and you're sharing about our relationship, you're probably not the man for me. And I'm secure enough in myself.
Did everyone hear that? Did everyone hear that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I'm secure enough and I love myself enough to say that if you're watching this live right now and you're not proud to be the person I'm talking about, and you're not proud to be that person in my life that I'm like, wow, this guy's amazing, and you're actually like sitting there like, this is too much, this is scary, you're probably not for me anyway. So that's why I'm going to share anyway. And look, Taylor, that was not someone that existed. This is not the same Emily that existed a month ago. You know, I was dating and seeing people like a couple of months ago, and I would not have had these conversations online because I know that those people would not be okay with this conversation happening. And so I'm like, fuck it, you know? It's not that I don't care about other people's feelings. I'm not insensitive to how people feel. I'm not dropping names, telling them, you know, I'm not telling you how big his package is or anything like that. It's like, I'm really just authentically sharing what my experience of this relationship is.
And can I just say,
yes,
expressing that you like someone is not pressure that you're going to end up with that person.
no,
it is not an expectation. And I said this to Ben.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, I'm like, you know, I'm not asking for a ring, you know, like, I'm just sitting here being like, I like you.
Yeah. And I said this to Ben. I was like, I want you in my life. So if at some point you decide you're not in love with me and you don't want to be in a committed romantic relationship with me, you need to tell me way before you've already decided that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you'll know and it sneaks in and it's like, I don't know about her. Yeah.
And I'm like, because you in my life is more important. Absolutely. And I actually like made a pact with myself that I wouldn't have any more breakups where that person was no longer in my life.
Yeah, because why would you date them if you didn't like them in the first place? You know, I get that too.
To prove that I'm not good enough. That's why.
Yes, I used to do that actually. I take it all back. And that's beautiful because, you know, then you have that open communication. What I created with this guy was, I want to be your friend first and foremost before anything. Even 10 years down the track, friendship comes first. So we call each other soul friends. And that really sets up a context of some kind of creation for the relationship, meaning more than all of these other feelings, thoughts and emotions, conditioning, all of it might get in the way. So it's like, what we've created is a foundation of friendship, and everything just gets built on top of that. And if it doesn't work, we can come back to our foundation, you know. But I'd prefer him in my life as a friend than not at all. And I think he'd feel the same. I just want to say, Callum, you have the bubbliest of all bubbly personalities, and I envy that. Getting ready for Lockie's life. Have a great life. Oh, thanks, Callum. You're the best. And we have a couple of things over here. I feel like I'm getting so much love tonight. Oh, we're getting so much love, Taylor.
Yeah.
If anyone
It's the
just
red lipstick.
if anyone just mentions my name, I take it as a compliment for both of us. Nathan says, "Emily, it was a pleasure to work with you and be able to join these types of live chats. Oh, first time having sex with Corey was the most amazing thing I've ever had and never looked back. He shook my world, something fierce. Love is a hopeless place. Found me left shacking and couldn't wait to message. And it took me 3 minutes to message after we parted ways after the first time. We were inseparable." Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah, and Nathan, in saying that, there was something I noticed about my story of love being that if it's not intense, if it's not this intense experience, because I was dating men that were really unpredictable, like they were unpredictable in what they were going to do, what they were going to say, who they were going to be in every moment. A lot of that had come down to drugs. I was dating people that really weren't aligned with my values. And if there wasn't this intensity, this even scariness and danger, if there wasn't like secrecy, then I would say to myself that I wasn't in love.
Oh
And
my God, I can so relate.
yeah, and actually that's why I brought up this guy that I'm seeing. It's not any of that. There's no danger, there's no secrecy, there's no scarcity, scaredness, anything like that. No danger, no unpredictability. It's all out open, and it's a really unfamiliar territory for me. And I actually even found myself wanting to start creating um not drama. Oh, actually, yeah, drama. Like,
I am a drama queen, Emily.
me
And
too.
my boyfriend is so calm and so wonderful and just like, it's okay, you can cry. And I'm like, you're meant to hate me, or you didn't come and see me. And he's like, I'm coming now. It's okay. You're allowed to feel that way. And I'm like, ah.
Oh, so good. It's so funny, and not every man has to be like that, by the way. But this is what Taylor and I are saying. We're very similar in our relationship style, but this is what we're both saying works for us in relationship is someone that we can rely on, like to really be the rock for us when we need it, and to also kick us in the ass when we need it. Like I really need to boot up the ass when I'm being a drama queen.
He
And
says, I'm not going to let anyone talk to me the way you're talking to me right now. And it comes to the surface and I want to spit venom at him. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you're right. I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
I love you and I'm hanging up now.
I love that. Yeah, and you can still see the tantrum going on.
Behind my eyes, but then I'm really good for him. So when things go wrong, he shuts off, or like when there's confrontation, he removes himself emotionally. And I make him come back and sometimes I say, what are you thinking? And he goes, no, I'm good. And I'm like, okay, but I'm going to check every time you go quiet on me that you're not over there pulling yourself away.
Yes. Yeah, Jess does this with me. She goes, because being in silence is really unsettling for her, and that's based on her past and her relationship with her parents. But silence is dangerous. And so when her and I together and there's a confront, my first way to process what's going on is to go internal and to start thinking about how I actually feel, what I want to say. I go internal and I process in my head, and I kind of want to separate myself from the circumstance to figure it out before I come back. But she's the opposite. She's like external, external, external. I'm going to talk about it until it's resolved. And
that's me.
So as soon as I go quiet, she goes, she's like, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it later? She's really great about it now. She's like, I can give you space. What do you need? And I'm like, yeah, I need my space. She's like, okay, I'll come back in 10 minutes. And I'm like, come back in half an hour,
Yeah.
So that's why I want this. That's why this is a conversation, a conscious conversation, not just a conversation for love, but it's a conscious conversation for love. It's the difference between a relationship where you're just two people reacting at each other all the time. Even love can be a reaction to something, by the way. It's like someone's upset, oh, let me love you. That's still a reaction. Instead, being two people, conscious of how you are behaving over here, and instead of projecting it and how you feel, conscious of yourself, love yourself first and foremost, love yourself second, third and fourth, and then
Yeah.
act, not react. So interact and respond to the conversation, not react. Yeah.
And I think it's really one of the things I like to remind people is like love isn't warm and fuzzy.
No.
I talk about the example of a kid running across the road and nearly getting hit by a car and their parents smacking them or disciplining them on the other side of the road and the kid crying. Well, why did the parent do that? Because they love their child.
They care. Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. I've had moments with people that I love where there's screaming matches going on. It's like when someone talks to you, or there's complete shutdown, and someone talks to me that's not aligned with their commitment to love me. It's sad. It makes me sad. And it's funny. I wouldn't be sad if I didn't love that person. So always coming back to love as well, noticing that it's there. Ultimately though, I really want to create some kind of context for anybody who's still watching, anybody that's going to replay. I challenge you. I love challenging people. And I love when people challenge me. But I challenge you to start looking at love as an experience of being human being and experiencing yourself fully as a human being and loving yourself anyway, and experiencing other people as being fully human being and loving them anyway, and having that be, and it's so funny, there's this word's being used so much, but having that be love, having that experience of humanity be love.
And let it be messy.
Yeah.
Let it like crash over you and tumble you. I use the ocean as a metaphor a lot. Like let the wave of love crash over you and tumble you and get stuck in it, choking on it, like fill your lungs with it, not know which way is up, not know how to get out of it. Let it crush you and like just let it take all of you, the good and the bad, because that's what life's all about. And that's where you grow. That's where you learn. That's where, like, maybe if you are in a relationship that you're not sure if it's right, if you let it crash over you, you will know one way or the other.
Absolutely.
And wouldn't you rather know one way or the other?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you let it come tumbling down, something's either going to get resolved or dissolve. So, oh man, look at us rhyming over here too. Like,
no, we're like gangsters.
We're gangster. I love it. You actually gave me a really good idea. I think what I'm going to do with this channel from now on is, instead of just exploring topics, because that can be fun, but I want some kind of structure to these conversations. And if anyone's watching, if you replay, whatever, if you watch this, let me know your feedback. But I really want to start having structured conversations about, love advice and, 5 steps to the most juiciest sex of your life. I want to have those topics, and I want to have structured conversations that people get real value when they come on. So maybe you and I can even look at doing that.
Yeah, definitely. I would love that.
Yeah, and I know that if you want to quickly share before we sign out. Hello, Edison and Robert. We're just gonna close up, but you want to quickly share? I know that you are up to some amazing stuff, and you and Angie are doing a regular
Yeah.
class of it. What do you want to share
Sorry, what
about
was that?
that? A
Oh,
masterclass
so
webinar.
it's actually just a women's circle at the
Mm.
moment. It's a virtual women's circle. So it's called Talking About Your Yoni. For
Oh,
anyone that doesn't know what yoni means, it's your sacred women bits. And it's not just, the vagina, not just the womb, and not just
yeah.
that. It's like the magic of creation, of life, of birth, of
Mm.
pleasure, and we just talk about the real stuff that we're dealing with. We talk about orgasms
I
a
love that.
lot, which is fantastic. But we also talk about dating and being vulnerable, and we have great discussions about consent, all of that sort of stuff. And actually, Angie and I are creating an event for the men. So she and I are
Oh,
going to get on and talk to men about the female orgasm, female
oh,
sexuality, female pleasure.
man, if you're watching, oh my God, Taylor's going to drop something in the link. And if you're a little bit shy, just click on it and secretly join that
Yeah.
conversation. But
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love that. I want to be a part of that actually. If I'd love to come and co-facilitate that, and I have a lot of men that would be interested. Um,
Amazing. That would be
yeah,
amazing.
it'd be so much fun. I love because this is just another realm of expression.
Yeah. And then what's to come? So I really acknowledge that, we need men and women's spaces. We need women's spaces for women, and we need men's spaces for men. And I also think that sometimes men can't teach men about female orgasms.
I agree.
There's
No,
there are certain things men can learn from men,
yeah,
but there are certain things that they can't. And then we're going to create a space like a co-ed, I don't know, a unisex, everyone's welcome.
yeah, cool.
And I just want to say, anyone out there that doesn't identify as a heterosexual woman or as a woman, if you own a vagina, if you have a yoni, you are invited to talking about your yoni.
Great. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Awesome. That's so cool. I am launching a 5-day program at the end of September. It's not really a program, it's more of a 5-day game. I'm all about playing games in life because when we give ourselves, when we declare something, we have a structure, we have accountability, and we have a safe space. We can pretty much create anything. Anything is possible. So it's going to be a 5-day game. And leading on to that is going to be, there's going to be a group for men and a group for women. And then at the end of that process, I'm going to integrate them. So that all of the work I did with the men, all of the work that I did with the women, then get integrated in this one magical, beautiful setting. And everything that was learned, everything that was applied in life now gets to be applied in relationship with each other. And I think that's so important because we do have circles. Men run circles for men, women run circles for women. And I get so much out of women's circles, and I hear so much amazing stuff out of men's circles. And I'm like, okay, at what point are we all going to come together? So I'm like looking for people that are interested in that too. And so this is why we're friends.
Yeah.
This is why
That's
we're friends.
literally the structure of my couples courses.
Good. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
good. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for coming on to this
You're
live.
very welcome.
To keep them to an hour. And thank you to everyone, Callum, Nathan especially, for all your amazing comments. We also have Airway. Thank you for tuning in. For Jay, anybody else that commented, I can't see who it was, but thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much to Taylor. You are amazing. I love what you're up to, and I love that we're friends because we get to talk about orgasms all the time.
What else would you talk about? Jeez, like
what else would you talk about?
Who cares if it's raining?
That's it. If you resonate with either Taylor or myself and what we're up to, please do not hesitate to reach out. We are here as service to humanity. We want to contribute to you. We have really big things that we aspire to achieve, and it doesn't take it. We can't do it on our own. So we're always looking for people to collaborate with. You know, I am all about humanity expressed. Taylor is all about banishing shame from the bedroom, intimacy, creating power couples, and ending human trafficking. So reach out to us. We're here for you. I love you all. Is there anything else you want to say, Taylor?
No, you've covered it all.
Great. Thank you. I'm going to end the live now and hope to see you all next week. Cool.